Third graders, welcome to Ready, Set, Read, Research and Write. I am Ms. Gunter and I'm so glad that you're here with me today. On today's episode, we're going to read our new text, Magnetic Field and the Magnetic Compass. And then we're going to answer some text-dependent questions. Make sure that you're prepared for our learning today. In today's episode, you are going to need your Week 8 Distant Learning Packet, a pencil, and some paper. If you do not have your materials, that's okay. You will have 30 seconds to go get them. We're ready. We're ready. We're ready to learn. Readers, now that you have your materials, let's get started on our learning for today. On our last episode, we learned 3 important jobs that readers should do during the first read of a close read. Do you remember what those 3 jobs are? That's right. During the first read, readers should read with a purpose, annotate the text, and read all the way through. Today when we read, let's focus on doing those 3 things. The purpose for reading today is to answer the question, what is a compass and how are compasses used in people's everyday lives? Then we're going to annotate and make sure we read the text all the way through. Last week, you watched me as I annotated, and then you tried it. This week, I think you're ready to try it on your own. I will read the text out loud. As I'm reading, you are going to annotate, and then we'll check to see if we had similar annotations. I know you can do it. Remember, when we annotate, we read with our pencils. We're underlining major points, circling any keywords or phrases that are confusing or unknown, using question marks to show questions that we have while reading, and stopping and jotting our thoughts and clarifying statements in the margin. Remember, our purpose for reading is to answer the question, what is a compass and how are compasses used in people's everyday lives? Ready, set, let's read. Magnetic fields and the magnetic compass. If you were in a forest, chances are there wouldn't be any street signs to help direct you. That's why you need a compass to help you find your way using the power of a magnetic field. What is a magnetic field? Magnets are objects that produce an area of magnetic force called a magnetic field. Magnetic fields by themselves are invisible to the human eye. Magnets attract or pull objects made of materials that are very attracted to magnets. These materials include iron and nickel. A magnet also reacts to another magnet when they are close enough to each other. What are magnetic poles? Magnets come in different shapes, strengths, and sizes. However, they all have a north pole and a south pole. The south pole of one magnet is attracted to another magnet's north pole. However, the north poles of both magnets would repel or push each other away. What are the Earth's poles? The Earth is like a huge magnet. It has a magnetic field and it has magnetic north and south poles. The Earth's magnetic poles are not to be confused with its geographic poles, though. The Earth is tilted on an axis. The geographic North Pole is located at the most northern end of the axis. This place is in the middle of the Arctic Ocean. The geographic South Pole is located at the most southern end of the axis, and this can be found in Antarctica. The Earth's magnetic poles are in the general direction of the planet's geographic poles. However, unlike the geographic poles, the magnetic poles are not always in the same place. They are moving slowly. How does a compass work? A compass is used to show direction. There are different types of compasses. They include the magnetic compass, the solar compass, and the gyro compass. When people talk about a compass, they often think of the magnetic compass. A magnetic compass is usually comprised of a magnetized needle and a card with north, south, east, and west printed on it. One end of the needle is attracted to the Earth's magnetic North Pole. This end is often painted red. With one end showing you the direction of north, you can use a compass to figure out the other directions too. Readers, I know that you had some great annotations. Take about 30 seconds to finalize your annotations, and then we will compare. What annotation did you make in the first paragraph? I circled the word compass in the title of this text. I circled this word because of two reasons. The first reason is because the word compass is directly related to our purpose for reading. The second reason is because I am interested to see how this text used the word compass. On our last episode, we discussed how magnetic devices impact a bird's internal compass. I wonder if compass means the same thing in this article as it did in our article from last week. I also circled the word magnetic field. Magnetic field is one of our vocabulary words for this week. What annotations did you make in the second paragraph? In the second paragraph, I circled the word magnetic field again. I did this because I noticed that the author gave us a definition of a magnetic field. The author said, magnets are objects that produce an area of magnetic force called a magnetic field. I also stopped and jotted my thoughts about a magnetic field. I said, a magnetic field is an area of magnetic force produced by magnets. This force attracts objects that are made out of iron or nickel or another magnet. What annotations did you make in the third section? In this section, what are magnetic poles? I circled the word pole. That word was new or unfamiliar. I read the sentences around the word and I was able to come up with a definition. A pole is the end of an imaginary line. And I also stopped and jotted my thoughts after reading this paragraph. I said, each magnet has a north and south pole. The north and south poles attract, and the same poles of two magnets will repel. In this section, what are the Earth's poles? I circled the word axis since that's one of our vocabulary words. An axis is an imaginary line about which a body rotates. I also did a couple of stop and jots. The first stop and jot says, the Earth is a large magnet with north and south poles. The second stop and jot says, the Earth's magnetic poles move slowly. What annotations did you make in the final section? In the section, How Does a Compass Work?, the first annotation I made was circling the word compass. The author gave us the definition of the word compass in this section. The author wrote, "A compass is used to show direction." Earlier in the text, I wondered whether or not the word compass would be the same in this text as it was in our previous text, and it is. Another word that I circled is actually a phrase. It's a magnetic compass. The definition given to us by the author is, a magnetic compass is usually comprised of a magnetized needle and a card with north, south, east, and west printed on it. This word was directly related to our purpose for reading. I stopped and jotted a few things. The first stop and jot says, there are 3 different compasses. But then that made me wonder, how are the 3 types of compasses different? Another stop and jot I had says, a magnetic compass always points north. This helps us to figure out the other directions. I think that stop and jot is going to be very important when answering the question that we had for our purpose for reading. Now that we have compared our annotations, how did you do? Did you have similar annotations as I did? What different annotations did you have? Readers, now that we have our annotations, we can answer some text-dependent questions. Turn to page 7 of your Week 8 Distant Learning Packet. On page 7, we see 2 text-dependent questions. When looking at the directions, we already read the text with minimal interruptions. Now we need to answer the questions below using complete sentences, paying attention to grammar and punctuation. The directions also tell us to be sure to use evidence from the text to support our answers. On our last episode, we used a 4-step process to answer text-dependent questions. When we answer text-dependent questions, we first think about whether the question is a thick question or a thin question. We use our annotations to find where in the text there are details that can help us answer the question. We reread the text and develop our answer, and then we underline the details in the text that support our answer. Let's use these 4 steps to answer the questions on page 7. The first question on page 7 asks us, what is a magnetic field? I'm going to first think about whether the question is a thick question or a thin question. I think this question is a thin question because it is asking us about a specific definition. The question is asking us about the definition of a magnetic field. The second step tells us to use our annotations to find where in the text there are details that can help us answer the question. I remember reading about magnetic fields when annotating the section, What is a magnetic field? When looking at my annotations, I already stopped and jotted about the definition of a magnetic field. My stop and jot says, a magnetic field is an area of magnetic force produced by magnets. This force attracts objects that are made out of iron or nickel or another magnet. I can use this stop and jot in my answer. Step 3 tells us that we need to reread the text and develop our answer. Luckily for us, our annotations already have our answer. That is why annotating is so important. It makes answering text-dependent questions that much easier. We can go back in the text and reread for details that can support our answer or give more information about a magnetic field. In the paragraph, we also learned that a magnetic field is invisible to the human eye. That means humans cannot see a magnetic field. And we also learned about the force of a magnetic field and how it can attract objects and other magnets. Let's include those details in our answer. Now that we have gathered our evidence, let's develop our answer. A magnetic field is an area of magnetic force produced by a magnet. A human cannot see a magnetic field. If an object that is made up of nickel or iron comes into a magnet's magnetic field, the force of the magnetic field will attract the object to the magnet. The force of a magnetic field may also attract or repel another magnet. We can go back into the text to underline the details that support our answer. Now that you have watched and helped me answer the first question, use that 4-step process to answer the second question on page 7. Great job working the entire time. I know you worked hard. Let's look to see how your response compares to mine. In my response, I wrote, a compass is a tool that people use to help them when they are lost. A compass uses the Earth's magnetic field to show people which way to go. A compass has a card that says north, south, east, and west. It also has a magnetized needle that always points north. Knowing that the needle points north can help a person determine which way is south, east, and west. As you worked so hard today. While reading our text, Magnetic Fields and Magnetic Compass, we annotated the text, we read with purpose, and we read the entire text. Then we used our annotations to help us answer 2 text-dependent questions that were on page 7 of our Week 8 Distant Learning Packet. There is one more text-dependent question that you need to answer on page 8 of our Week 8 Distant Learning Packet, as well as write a summary. I know that you can do it. I believe in you. I can't wait to see you on our next episode. Until then, I wish you and your family well. See you soon.